ridden by Elsie Mitchell and trained by her husband Richard, who does in fact have a license to train. Richard very successful with the few horses he has, and I saw this one win under Elsie at Tweedledum 10 days ago, and very impressive they were too. Likes to bowl along, very good jumper, and Elsie certainly is useful in the saddle. When she was challenged by 2 or 3 others, she really got to work and came away to win on the line, but was going away then. Very good rider, good horse this, formerly trained by Harry Willis, and one that I expect to go quite close. Number 11, a good-looking horse, one of the best-looking in the paddock. This is Sporran Lad, owned and trained by George Cook from Milton Keynes. You'd have a job to train one in the middle of Milton Keynes, wouldn't you? Qualified with the Hunterchase, and George Cook is, in fact, he looks after James Delahook's hunters. James, who is very well known in the bloodstock breeding industry, especially on the flat, and is a steward here today. Well, this one has been very useful, good servant to George Cook, ridden by Mrs. Jenny Owen. 1 pound overweight, Jenny's putting up, but that won't stop Sporran Lad if he's good enough. Number 7, that's the gelding by Bribe called Moonstep, who was the winner of this race 2 years ago, owned and trained by John Weldon, ridden today by Miss Janine Evans, who's had 3 point-to-point winners so far this season. There he is, rather flashy-looking chestnut, but when this one won 2 years ago, he was ridden by Katie Haswell, 25-to-1 shot then, and Moonstep not had the best of runs so far, under rules so far this season, because has been on the floor or not completed 3 of the 4 occasions to race. A previous winner, as I say, but possibly not good enough today. Sporran Lad and Seine Bay 4-to-1 joint favourites. It's 11-to-2 bar those 2. There is number 8, Nostradamus. Well, Toki Sumner rides this one for her father John, who's a member of the Jockey Club, had some very, very good horses in his time. And Toki had the misfortune to experience her windscreen breaking in the horse box coming down. She put up her hand instinctively to guard her eyes from the flying glass and cut it. She is bandaged today, but she's all right now, but it was a nasty shock. I suggested a brandy before she rode, but she said no, she'll settle for one afterwards. This one ran a couple of years ago in this race, but it was rock hard, didn't run at all well. Is a winner of a point-to-point this year, but previously a prolific winner between the flags and expected to go quite well. So Toki Sumner riding Nostradamus. There in the stripe colours, Drumman, number 4 in the green and white stripes. This one ridden by Joan Stevens for Norman Jones. And this one trained on a mountain, rounds up the sheep to get him fit, but they're coming under orders. Let's join Peter.
Yes, they're being called in. Looks like a first-timer, and they're away, and 22 fences to be jumped this time. 3 miles and 3 furlongs, and Sporran Lad going on to take it up from Nostradamus and Moonstep as they come to the first. Sporran Lad lands in the lead. Master Straight moves up on the outside of Moonstep. Nostradamus back in 4th. Then comes Mr. Mole and Balking Byway. Behind them Drumman, and then Prince of Pleasure as they come to the first ditch. Sporran Lad clear over the first ditch, and they're all safely over it. Now the plain one, Sporran Lad, from Master Straight and Moonstep and Mr. Mole. Then Nostradamus and Balking Byway. Then Drumman on the inside of Ernie the Milk. Behind them comes the grey Starsky, and then Prince of Pleasure. That was the Water. And still Sporran Lad in the lead. From Master Straight and Moonstep. Just in behind them, Nostradamus and Mr. Mole and Balking Byway and Drumman as they jump the 5th. Behind them, Ernie the Milk and Prince of Pleasure and Starsky. And behind Starsky comes Penny's Affair. Behind Penny's Affair is Ragleth, and then Seine Bay. And finally, Queen's Pattern. That was the 6th, and they're going a pretty good pace with Sporran Lad taking him along. From Master Straight and Moonstep and Nostradamus, a little gap then to Balking Byway. Then on the inside, Drumman. Just in behind Drumman is Mr. Mole, and then Starsky, the very pale grey, but the light grey, and behind the light grey is Ernie the Milk. And then Queen's Pattern, another grey, making little ground towards the outside. Penny's Affair, Ragleth, and Seine Bay. Sporran Lad and Mrs. Jenny Owen clear at the moment. of Master Straight and Moon Step and Walking Byway as they come to 7th. And all still standing. Another open ditch this time. Second of the ditches, Sporran Lad lands in the lead from Master Straight, Moon Step and Walking Byway. And right up with them, Ernie the Milk. They come down to another plain one, number 9, Sporran Lad from Master Straight. And Ernie the Milk jumped in 3rd, and then Moonstep and Nostradamus and Walking Byway and Starsky and Drumman and Mr. Mole. Sporran Lad over the 10th in the lead from Master Straight. Ernie the Milk, Moonstep, Nostradamus and Starsky and Walking Byway and Mr. Mole and Drumman and Prince of Pleasure and Queen's Pattern. That'll be the last on the next circuit. And as they come up to the winning post on the first circuit, all 14 still standing and still very much in contention, with Sporran Lad the leader, from Master Straight second, Ernie the Milk, and then the grey nearest to us, Starsky. Behind them come Walking Byway and then Moonstep and Queen's Pattern, with between horses Mr. Mole. Just behind them Drumman and Nostradamus and Prince of Pleasure. And then making a little ground from the rear now is Seine Bay. Then Penny's Affair, and Ragleth is the back marker of the 14 as they go out into the country on one final circuit in this RMC Group Ladies Championship Hunterchase final, which incidentally Prince of Pleasure was judged the best turned out and got the £50 award from the RMC Group for Carol Underwood. So, Sporran Lad in the lead from Master Straight, Starsky next, Queen's Pattern improving into 4th, just relegating Ernie the Milk to 5th. Behind them Walking Byway, and making ground all the time from the rear is Seine Bay. Sporran Lad as they come to the 12th of the 22 fences in all. Sporran Lad jumps it clear of Master Straight second, a gap then to Starsky, then Queen's Pattern, then Ernie the Milk, and then comes Mr. Mole and Walking Byway, then Seine Bay and Prince of Pleasure and Moon Step. Over the 3rd ditch, Sporran Lad clear there of Master Straight, Ernie the Milk, Starsky. Behind Starsky is Queen's Pattern, then Mr. Mole. Then on the outside of Mr. Mole is Seine Bay, and then Walking Byway, who lost a little bit of ground at that one. Moonstep, who won it at 25 to 1 a couple of years ago, with a lot to do at the moment. Sporran Lad clear over the water from Master Straight second, Starsky 3rd, Ernie the Milk, a bad mistake, has unshipped his rider there. Ernie the Milk has gone, and it's still Sporran Lad well clear of Master Straight second, Starsky is 3rd, 4 is Queen's Pattern, 5 and 6 are Mr. Mole and Seine Bay, and then comes Walking Byway. Ragleth has been pulled up, Moonstep comes next, Nostradamus behind him, then comes Penny's Affair. They've got 6 left to jump. Sporran Lad well clear of Master Straight and Starsky. Behind them Mr. Mole. Then comes Walking Byway and Queen's Pattern, and then Seine Bay, Nostradamus and Moonstep. A long run now to the first in the straight, with Sporran Lad and Mrs. Jenny Owen well clear at the moment of Master Straight in second. Starsky is 3rd, Walking Byway is 4th, Mr. Mole is 5th, 6th is Queen Pattern and 7th, and still making ground is Seine Bay. Then comes Moonstep and Nostradamus and Penny's Affair as they race towards the home stretch now, with just 5 fences left to jump in this RMC Group Ladies Championship Hunterchase final. Sporran Lad is well clear of Master Straight, then comes the grey Starsky, then Walking Byway, then Mr. Mole. Behind Mr. Mole, Queen's Pattern, and then Seine Bay. Another plain one. Sporran Lad over clear of Master Straight, Starsky. Then comes Walking Byway. Running down to the final ditch now. This is the last ditch. Sporran Lad clear of Master Straight, Starsky, Walking Byway. Then Mr. Mole, a bad mistake there, but gets away with it. Making ground still is Seine Bay, coming down now towards the 3rd last, and as they do so, it's Sporran Lad still in the lead. Sporran Lad jumps it about 3 lengths clear of Walking Byway, making ground now to come and try and challenge him. Then comes Starsky and Master Straight as they come to the 2nd last fence. Sporran Lad lands in the lead from Walking Byway. Walking Byway still making ground towards the stand side, coming there very strongly now. Walking Byway away on the near side. Over on the far side is Sporran Laird. There's little between the two at the final fence. Sporran Laird and Balking Byway. A mistake there by Sporran Laird. Hands the initiative to Balking Byway. And Balking Byway fairly sprinting ahead now as they race up towards the line. Balking Byway going away to win this in great style under Miss Rosemary Harper. Balking Byway is the winner, and second is Sporran Laird. It's going to be very close for third, with Master Straight just beating Starsky for third place. And behind them came Mr. Mole and Moonshot, and behind them was Seine Bay, and behind Seine Bay Nostradamus and Penny's Affair, and then came Queen's Pattern. And so the result of the RMC Group Ladies Championship Hunterchase final: first, number 13, Balking Byway, owned by Mrs. Anne Bray, trained by and ridden by Miss Rosemary Harper. Second was number 11, Sporran Laird, owned by Mr. George Cook, trained by him and ridden by Mrs. Jenny Owen. And third was number 15, Master Straight, owned by Mrs. Diane Sloman, trained by her and ridden by Mrs. Rosemary Vickery. Fourth was number